Have you ever walked away from a conversation and felt like something was just off? Your chest feels tight. Your mind keeps replaying everything. You're trying to figure out where it went wrong. But the strange part is, nothing actually happened. No shouting, no clear attack, no moment you can point to. And yet, you still feel smaller than you did an hour ago, almost like someone quietly reached inside you and turned your volume down. I know that feeling better than I should. And for a long time, I thought staying calm made me strong. I thought if I stayed patient, kind, understanding, eventually they would change. Eventually they would meet me halfway. They didn't. They got worse. And that's the part nobody tells you. Because the truth is, calmness doesn't make you powerful. If it makes you predictable, and predictable people are the easiest people to control. Now most of you are probably thinking, so what? I'm supposed to become toxic too? No, that's the trap. This was never about becoming aggressive. It was about understanding something most people never realize. You were playing a completely different game. For a long time, I assumed everyone operated like me. I believed honesty leads to resolution, that if I explained myself clearly enough, things would get better. But I was wrong. Completely wrong. Because a toxic person doesn't experience relationships the way you do. Where you see connection, they see leverage. Where you show vulnerability, they see opportunity. Where you offer trust, they store it as ammunition. Trying to explain your feelings to someone like that is like trying to install an iPhone app on a toaster. The hardware just doesn't match. And I had to accept something uncomfortable. Being kind to the wrong person is not a virtue. It's a vulnerability. Because calmness doesn't make you powerful. If it just makes you predictable. So I asked myself, what actually drives this behavior? And what I found changed everything. Toxic people don't feed on conflict. They feed on your reaction. Your emotion is their leverage. Your attention is their reward. Your frustration, your explanations, even your kindness becomes fuel. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. They don't choose everyone. They choose people who respond, people who care, people who try to fix things, people who stay. That's why it feels personal. You think, why me? But the real answer is, because you're accessible, because you're readable, because they know if they push the right button, you'll react. And once someone can predict your reaction, they control the interaction, not you. The shift started when I stopped trying to win and started removing access. I began thinking like a poker player. A great poker player doesn't reveal anything. Doesn't matter if they're winning or losing. What matters is no one can read them. That's when it clicked. Neutrality isn't weakness. It's discipline. Toxic people survive by reading you. They scan for your insecurities, your triggers, your patterns. So I gave them nothing. This is what psychology calls the gray rock method. I call it the invisible wall. Not rude, not cold, just unmoved. I remember sitting in a meeting. A coworker tried to take a shot at me. Well, some of us have actually been here doing real work. Old me, I would defend myself, explain everything, prove my value. But this time, I paused, looked at him, and calmly said, interesting point. Then went back to work. That's it. No reaction, no defense, no energy. And something strange happened. He kept pushing, then got uncomfortable, then started over-explaining himself. And eventually, he exposed himself. That's when I realized they're not in control. They're dependent. Because toxic behavior needs friction. And when you remove that, it collapses. Then I learned something even more dangerous. Information is leverage. Every personal detail you share can and will be used later. I learned this the hard way. So I changed how I spoke. Not rude, not distant, just vague. Toxic people love talking about themselves. So while they talk, you stay protected. Even online, I stopped oversharing. Because what looks like authenticity to you looks like a map of your weak points to them. I realized something simple. Privacy isn't secrecy. Privacy is protection. Not everyone deserves access to you. Now this one changed everything for me. It's called fogging, but I think of it as agree without submitting. Because toxic people expect resistance. They want friction. They want to fight. So what happens when you don't give it to them? No long explanation. No emotional reaction. No escalation. You just remove the battlefield. If they say, you're being irrational, you say, I can see how it might look that way. That's it. Your ego will hate this. Because your ego wants to win. But think about it. How many arguments have you actually won with someone like that? Exactly. Because they're not arguing for truth. They're arguing for control. And the moment you stop resisting, they lose their grip. When they lose control of you, they try something else. Your reputation. They start talking, spreading narratives, playing the victim. This used to scare me. Until I understood something powerful. You don't fight this directly. You build what I call a reputation fortress. You show up consistently calm, grounded, unreactive. So when they say you're difficult, reality doesn't match the story. And people notice that. And then comes the hardest truth. Some people don't change. No technique will fix it. No boundary will fix it. The only solution is exit. And I used to do this wrong. I wanted closure. I wanted one final conversation. One perfect explanation. But people who prioritize control don't suddenly choose understanding. That final conversation is just another opportunity for them. So I changed my approach. No drama, no announcement. Just distance. Less response. Less engagement. And then one day, nothing blocked, gone finished. Because I learned something important. I don't owe anyone a goodbye. If that goodbye gives them one last chance to hurt me, they want the final word. My silence denies them that. Everything I've shared is not about controlling them. It's about removing their access to you. Because in the end, this was never about toxic people. It was about you realizing something most people never do. The game only works if you keep playing, and the moment you stop reacting, the moment you become unreachable, you don't win the game. You end it. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Silently. Exactly where your power was. The whole time.